Hi, and welcome to me cleaning up my photos that I've taken earlier today. I'll most likely just be doing some light editing. I don't expect, well, I personally don't particularly like doing a lot of heavy editing on my photos. Mostly just a fair bit of spot removal, some color correction if need be. But yeah, let's dive in and have a look and see. Alright, so today I only took 78 photos, okay? Which I won't say is par for the course. This is the first time I've dived in 5 months or so it's been a bit of a journey. At the same time, I was also using a new camera lens, a 90mm macro. It takes a little bit of getting used to after being dry for 5 or so months. Now, we can see here that this is the first shot that I've taken, and well, it's not great now, is it? You can see that I've clearly taken an anemone when there is what appears to be a blurred out anemone shrimp. Sadly, that means I am not going to be using this photo because it is, how should I say, well, it's not good. Next up, we've got blue dragon, nudibranch, depending on how you want to say it. And quite frankly, I'm still not quite happy with with what I've done. And that's mostly because of the way I compose this image, where the ground is way too obvious. Which is a real shame because I would say that I'm quite happy with the sharpness of the image, especially when you can see the rhinophores and even the rudimentary eye on this nudibranch. I mean, if we were to really have a good look at it, there might be some spots to remove, but otherwise, color-wise, I'm actually decently happy with how it looks. Now, it's just a shame that the composition itself is so poor. Sadly, this one is a little bit out of focus as well, just like this one over here. But at least this one looks good. Looks pin sharp. After Dean at 90mm, 1/60th of a second shutter speed. But yeah, these are not candidates that I would consider worth editing, really. Now what we have here is a clownfish. Now, this one looks like we could probably do something about. But where shall we start? First of all, it is very, very dark, so I'm most likely gonna boost the exposure a little bit. And with the boosted exposure, we can see the amount of backscatter that we've got here. So bit of work ahead of us. First thing I'm gonna do after boosting the exposure is likely creating a new oh yeah, that's it, a new heel layer. Oh well, that was not it. A new heel layer, as I was saying. Okay, so what this does is it allows me to utilize my, I don't want to use a draw and erase mask. I'll just use my spot removal tool. Typically, I I would go between, zooming in and doing spot removal, and in this case, really just like trying to make sure that I pull it in, and don't get too big with it, and well, unnecessarily big, really. Like this one right here, technically there's two spots that I'm trying to address. Let's zoom out. How does that look? Tolerable. I can accept that. Now I just gotta remove these bits over here. There's something to be said about how much post-processing is okay, like how much spots are you okay with removing when you're doing these kind of photos. And to me it's like I try to make sure that the photo is as close to as natural as possible, but at the same time, I'm quite happy to accept that there will be exceptions to the process, and will edit to taste, so to speak. Now sadly this little bugger right here is not going to go away, and that's going to be a bit of a problem. Let's see how are we going to deal with that. So most likely what I'll be doing is I'll be doing an empty layer, okay, and I will draw a mask. Now first order business is making this a lot smaller, okay, and we're going to zoom in on this little bastard right here. I'm just going to draw on it. Now the reason why we're drawing on it is so that we have a mask on that specific spot over there, and the next order of business is to drop the exposure just to, you know what, let's just bring it back up again first, and I'm going to widen the circle just a tad bit more, okay, and we'll just drop it down. Oh, that's a bit too much now. Okay. Tolerable. I'm not exactly happy with it. But that is generally how I would go about it at the moment. You can, technically speaking, utilize a mask to basically copy an area. I'm gonna consider that actually. Let me see if I remember how to do this. So let's say, for instance, we do this, and we'll just let me try and do that again. Let's try and get something as close to commensurate. dots to remove. Oh, goodness me. Okay. At some point, you know, it's okay to leave these blemishes, so to speak. Because once again, it comes down to taste. Whether you're okay with your photos having these little blemishes. Some would say that it adds character. In my case, it's just a real big headache that just irks me to no end. Okay. So we still have these here, and you know, truth be told, when I say, like, you know, you can use it as like to taste, or you can remove or keep it to taste. It's more like, do you want to treat it as you know, Pokeballs, so to speak? And in my case, some of them I might just leave, but these real obvious ones that do nothing but detract are likely to go. Okay, there we go. Beauty. It is still a little bit distracting, actually. Which is going to be a bit of an issue. I say a bit. It's going to be a pain. A real pain in the keister. So, what I'm likely going to do is I'm going to draw a mask over the background region, and I'm going to drop either the brightness or the exposure just to at least like sort of even it out, or at least like reduce how obvious the backscatter is. So that's another empty layer and a mask. This one can afford to be a little bit bigger. And we're just gonna this way. So, let's see what happens if we decide to just drop the exposure just a tad. Okay, slightly better. The clownfish obviously becomes a little bit more in focus, whereas the background is not so bright. Now, is there anything else that can be done about this image? Okay. Right. So now we have a relatively cleaned up image. There is still some backscatter going on over there, but it's not quite as obvious. Now, in my case, I am happy to accept that. I'm happy to accept this photo with the minimal amount of work that I've done on it. But yeah, no. Is there anything else that I would like to do about it? Would I increase the exposure just a little bit more, just to make the clownfish just a little bit brighter, and do a commensurate amount of darkening on this aspect over here? Okay. Yeah. Sort of okay, sort of not really. This is unlikely to go up on Instagram or anything like that. It's more just me trying to go and do a test run with my camera, or rather with my lens. And while I'm decently happy with what I'm seeing, could have been better. So normally what I do is I will label or tag my photos depending on the level of acceptance. I have it what I'm seeing here. Now, you can do the same thing if that's your jam. Alternatively, you might want to do the star rating. Normally I do a bit of both. In this case I'm gonna go with green, and for me I usually use three colors: blue, green, and yellow. Blue for when I'm really happy with the photo and there was likely minimal amount of editing that needed to be done. Green for when I think there's still some improvement to be done, but it's kind of okay to go out anyway. And yellow is for when it is a dire job that requires a lot more attention on my part. In this case, I'm going to give it a 3-star rating. Okay, so this is a nudibranch, and unfortunately, this photo is so shit. And that's mostly because of my strobe positioning. As I have a dual strobe setup, and I had them to the left and the right of the camera itself. Now the issue here was likely that the strobes were set up a bit too far apart, or the more likely scenario at that time, if I remember correctly, was there were things obstructing the strobes from positioning them the way I wanted to. And as you'll see in the next image, well, shit. Okay, so from this next image, it's quite obvious that one strobe was a lot brighter than the other one. Specifically the right side one, and this was obviously with me done hovering over the nudibranch, whereas this was done face on. Ideally, I would have done a better face on image, and if we, no amount of working on this is going to solve this nightmare, sadly. Just a shame. I mean, this oscillate nudibranch is something that you see fairly often in the waters that I dive in. So I'm not losing sleep over having no good photos of it. With this one, I most likely would. Try and increase the high dynamic range a little bit. Would likely want to increase the exposure just a little bit more, smidge more. But it doesn't change the fact that, once again, the composition itself, not great. And the lighting is uneven, because the lighting is only coming from one side and the other one is goodness knows what's happening with the other one. It was most likely positioned too far away. So, well, that's another photo that's not going anywhere. So now what we have here is a little glass shrimp. Is it a glass shrimp? Glass anemone shrimp? Sarasvati or something like that, I don't know. First order of business. Brighten this bad boy. Actually, you know what? Let me just increase the shadow and see how does that look. Not good. Not good. Because what you tend to find when you increase the shadows like this is what you're looking at right now feels it's a little bit cloudy of sorts. And that's to be expected when you increase either exposure or the shadows. And what I would do from here is just increase the contrast a little bit, just so that it's a little bit sharper and less of a bloom or blurry effect to it. And from here it's just a matter of cleaning this up. Eyes are sharp, but it's not immediately obvious, which is a real shame. Okay, let's clean this up a little bit. See whether this gets any better once we're done with it. Now this is one of those cases where you might want to consider: do we crop this photo? I'm not the biggest fan of cropping my photos unless I took a really shit one and the object, the critter of interest is like down here, and you've got the rest of the space over here, and you just want to go like move in on that. In this case, I'm sort of happy with the position. I know it's like dead center, but you can basically make out that there's a little shrimp there. So the more I talk about it, the less happy I am with this photo. Let me just see. Okay, so technically this is the only photo I took of this shrimp. But yeah, there's a case to be made about, instead of having this, you can crop it down to about here, where it takes up more of the screen real estate. I've got 4, 5. So the nice thing about Capture One is that it's got all these over here, allowing you to crop to whatever dimensions that you so choose. Normally I do about either 4, 5. I believe I do 4, 5, mostly because it mimics film when you're printing, I guess. But in this case, I'm gonna try and not crop any of my photos, which means that I'm most likely gonna be positioned a lot of them. Great. But yeah, so we have this one right here, a little bit of backscatter here and here. Let's see whether I can do something about that. Okay, cool. Is there anything else that can be done about this? To say that there is still more that I can do. Would I increase the contrast just a little bit more? Would that make a difference? Yes, it would. Let's see. Do I need to increase the exposure a little bit more? as is putting it as green, because once again, I'm decently happy with what I'm looking at, but it does feel as if there's more that can be done. But at this point in time, I'm really not sure what. Not sure what else can be done, because it feels more like a composition issue at this point, where likely that there's just, yeah. So as I was saying, it feels like a composition issue at this point in time, where it doesn't really stand out in contrast to the foreground and background objects. If I were to darken this area over here, it is likely that we might shift the eye's focus downwards a little bit, but it's still a little bit hard to distinguish this one from the rest of the anemone. Difficult. Moving on. Right, another nudibranch. So this was a little bit interesting because this was like tiny, and my god, that was bad. This one's not great either, but technically rhinophores are not in focus. Anal, what are these things called again? Anal gills, if I remember correctly. A little bit more in focus. Not what we want. And I think this is actually a product of me shooting it at f13. At some point in the dive, I realized my mistake and was like, okay, I should probably. So I did increase my aperture to f16, but at some point I believe I switched to f20 and stick with it for the rest of the dive. So what can I do about this? Because this is it's not a great photo, quite frankly. I'm going to increase the exposure, and we're going to find that there's all kinds of shit in the background right here, like this. And there's not much that can be done about it other than, individually removing each and every one, or darkening the background and basically making it so dark that you can't see all the sediment. I'm more interested in keeping this photo purely for identification purposes. Trying to see what exactly this nudibranch is. Yeah, let's see if I can clean this up as well. So in cases like this where I'm like very unhappy with the background, I almost will certainly decide to try and crop it, just so that I can remove as much clutter as possible. Let's see how this will turn out if I decide to just darken the background a fair bit. Okay.
Serais-tu là si je me quittais? Même si je me mets dans tes états, tu pourrais m'aimer. Si j'allume la mèche après mon café, si le cendrier le soir a besoin d'être vidé. Parce que je suis comme ça, ouais. Pourquoi vouloir changer un homme? Moi j'ai fait que t'as fait. Du temps il en fallait, mais tu m'as enregistré dans un film, un putain de tel qui se passait dans ta tête, ouais.
hope
C'est
that
pas
we
si
can
simple la
work
vie
on
d'artiste, tu la veux, vas-y prends, tu comprendras ce que je vis. Je me montre pas quand j'enregistre, quand tu parles encore de vie, moi je veux que ça paye en liquide. Pas là pour ça, pas de mytho, pas cet homme polygame, pas de michto. Tu me vois roi dans ton château, laisse-moi le temps de revenir avec des dingos. Dis-moi tout, c'est quoi ce bordel? J'ai rêvé de toi en robe Chanel, mais je crois que ton pouvoir m'en sortir. Tu rentres un carré, je rallume la mèche pour être zen. Dis-moi tout, c'est quoi ce bordel? J'ai rêvé de toi en robe Chanel, mais je crois que ton pouvoir m'en sortir. Tu me rentres un carré, je rallume la mèche pour être zen. Serais-tu là si je me butais tous les deux dans le noir, le corps glacé, le corps cassé? Serais-tu prête à tout réparer? Toujours eu confiance en toi, énervé, j'ai dit je l'ai jamais pensé. Dans ces moments je t'ai blessé, on se fait du mal, faut arrêter. On va finir par se détester. Dans le fond je t'ai toujours respecté. Bah ouais, c'est vrai, je suis là, tension. Je parle de toi, ça se fait pas. Y'a pas de pillage, y'a zéro but. Et ça depuis toujours, quand tu n'es pas là. Je te retiens pas devant des mecs, y'en a des autres. J'ai rêvé d'avoir ce qu'il a croit en moi, pourquoi tu le follow? J'aurais mieux qu'eux, un corps fort comme moi. Moi je cours après la main, jamais plus pour une femme.
Other things that can be done about this at this point would be increasing the contrast.
Tu me vois roi dans ton château, laisse-moi le temps de revenir avec des dingos. Dis-moi tout, c'est quoi ce bordel? J'ai rêvé de toi en robe Chanel, mais je crois que ton pouvoir m'en sorcelle. Tu me rends un carré, je rallume la mèche pour être zen. Dis-moi tout, c'est quoi ce bordel? J'ai rêvé de toi en robe Chanel, mais je crois que ton pouvoir m'en sorcelle. Tu me rends un carré, je rallume la mèche pour être zen. Étais-tu là, toi, quand je sombrais? Tard, paie le mal, 3h du mat. J'ai repensé à toi, je m'y perds. J'ai repris le match, je suis sérieux, je le fais des terres. Je fais ou pas, je suis dans la bulle. Que la neige que j'allume, je pense au sommet d'un campus. Tu sais, ça fait des vues, je suis bien trop propre, t'avais raison. Vois pas le futur dans le pur.
Not there. Ideally, I would have been front on, but instead I'm side on, and you know, you can't win it all. You're gonna find yourselves in positions where, you know, the animal is, you know, nice, it looks pleasing, but the landscape around you makes it difficult to compose your shot in a way that you would like. In most cases, what I just do is, if I can't get the shot that I want, I will take an IDing shot like this, where I just take a photo to denote that yes, I saw this, it was not a bad dive, but I wasn't getting a money shot. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. My goodness. Did you know that the claws had hair? I certainly didn't. Now this is all a real shame that none of it was in focus. So this one's at f16, and we can see that the claws and the antennae are in focus, but not the eyes. And I think it's very important to have the eyes in focus when you're trying to take a photo. What could have been done better to make sure that this doesn't happen would have been to increase the aperture number. F20 perhaps might have been the way to go. But a bit late for that now that I'm in the editing room and not underwater. I'm dreading the next fall. So what we've got here is a Whippoorwill goby, and yeah, no, we've got some lovely detail on the goby. It's just a shame that it's in a freaking snowstorm. So what can be done about this? Few things. Since it's a relatively black background, you can do a little cheeky trick that I occasionally do. I'm gonna do a Okay, so I'm gonna remove that, try that again, and this time try to not get the black background. Well, not get the black water behind these little tentacles unexposed as well. So let's drop it. Okay, so what we can do, make this a little bit smaller. Oh, that looks stupid. That looks stupid. Shit. Okay, let's bring this back. Bring this back. So what are we gonna do about this as a solution? I'm gonna say that, you know, these are unsalvageable. The more likely scenario as to what should have happened when taking these kind of photos is that I should have moved my strobes to be in a position where they do not reflect the backscatter back towards the camera, which would have likely meant that I pushed the strobes forward in such a way that they are to the left and to the right of the subject, while my camera is still slightly further away. Easy enough for me to say in post. Practical applications in underwater remain to be seen. We'll see if I can give that a go the next time I'm underwater. But yeah, no, unfortunately I think these whip coral gobies are a lost cause. Cool. So what we have here is a Glossodoris nudie. Position is kinda poor. Not gonna lie. Simply because I don't really need this background over here. It's just so brown. So brown. So I'm just gonna increase the dynamic range a little bit, just to go and cover a little bit more light to it. It's beautiful nudibranch. It's a big bastard as well, actually. But I'm feeling this photo just a little bit more than this one. And I think it's mainly because it fills up more of the frame. So let's just increase the highlights, shadows, more contrast to it. Okay. Let's just remove some spots and move on, because this is another one of those photos that definitely not going to win me any awards or anything like that. It's more just, here's a nudie that I saw. Yeah. You can't win it all as far as photography is concerned, because composition is important, but like say a studio shoot or street photography or anything like that, you're combating things like surge, the current, the terrain even. Because like if there's a huge bit of coral blocking where you're supposed to be floating to take a shot. What you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You definitely don't want to move the creature. You don't want to do anything to agitate it. So I'm a strong believer in just try to capture it in its natural environment. And yeah, the byproduct of that is that in most cases you're going to find that it's impossible to get a decent shot. Shame. So we got here Durban dancing shrimp. This is obviously out of focus. This is a butt shot. Getting there. So obviously what I was doing here was like coming from the back, slowly rotating myself around to try and get a better shot of this dude. And I know that I've got this one over here of it, but this is a fairly unnatural position. But is it better than this? I'll deal with these later. Right now, the question here is this one or this one. I'm gonna go with this one. The sort of side-on view gets a better look of our little dancing shrimp. Whereas like this one is not so clear. That's cute. Right. So what can we do about this? Touch the shadows, I think. Increase the contrast a little bit more, increase the exposure. And once again, healing. Heal these bits. This is unfortunate. Okay. What am I gonna do about this? What am I going to do about this? Well, each individual spot it is. Circles when it comes to, and I'm not talking about underwater photography for that. It's more like modeling and stuff like that. Where same concerns when it comes to post-processing, whether it's okay to do a lot, or they try to go and keep it as minimal as possible. Don't have such hang-ups about it like I do. Cool. So I'm going to say that I'm actually relatively happy with this one, so much so that I might give it a blue tag, and that's partly because the subject stands out enough for me compared to the background. So composition-wise, I am kind of happy with it, and there wasn't that much drama related to sorting it out. Now, this one right here, which one is the way to go? So interesting thing about these fellas, you can see the little brain-looking thing over here. Turns out it's not the brain, that's the intestines. Or at least the digestive tract. Let's see. This one. Okay. So we need to turn this around. No, that's not gonna work. Things wrong with this photo, not the least because like putting it down like this doesn't look right. In its natural position, it still doesn't feel right. Turning it sideways, it's well, okay, so the main concern, main issue is that the subject is just not covering enough of the frame. Okay, so that means that technically these two photos are not going to cut it, which moves us into these two. So adjusting this contrast. Oh, that's a shame. Claw's not in focus. Oh my goodness. I probably should have gone with F22. Okay. Oh, bugger. Eyeballs aren't in focus either. This is an unfortunate situation I find myself in. Amount of it is in focus. The claws, the just tract, the eyeballs though. Oh man, that's a real shame. Okay, so we're gonna just do a fair bit of spot removal. But other than that though, I'm actually decently happy. I'm sort of happy with the actual composition, simply because it takes up the majority of the space. You can see clearly the little pincers, the little claws and legs and shit. It's just a shame that the freaking eyeballs are not in focus. Dive to go through, you don't want to just sit in one spot over one of these glass and enemy shrimps, because you could likely be finding something a little bit more interesting. But yeah, one of these days I should probably find a day where I can just go dive and take photos of these shrimps exclusively. See whether I can come up with something decent rather than like snapping a few and running off. It's almost like a hit and run. Okay. Just a little bit more. Okay. Alright, I'll call this one blue. I mean, technically it's not going to be perfect. Right. So these are another one of the, there's IDing shots. I say ID shot, I don't actually need to ID these, I know what these are. If you're interested to know as well, these are flatworms. Shot's not in focus. Oh my god. Yeah, so what was I saying? These are flatworms. Normally they're found on bubble coral. So it was interesting to see that they were on these coral mushroom coral, yeah. It would be interesting to see that they're on mushroom coral. I don't know whether that is something that they also normally inhabit. But yeah, no. Interesting to note. You know what? I'm gonna take it as is. Decently happy with what I'm looking at, actually. Not necessarily because, you know, it's a great picture or anything like that, but more for the educational value. So let's just clean these up a little bit. Junk done. Bob junk. Now, these I'm happier with. Question here is which photo do I take? Not this one, that's for sure. Sadly, it's not going to be this one either. It's down to this or this. This or this. I think this is it. Now, do I actually need to do anything with regards to the HDR? You know what? I'm not going to touch that for now. I'm going to just clean it up a little bit with regards to the backscatter. So now these are real backscatter. You can see how it's just like a little rainbow because it's reflecting back onto the camera after my strobe fired. Please don't give me this shit. this, I think this is something I'm happy to say. Like this is the money shot of my dive today. Getting real close up of the head of the nudibranch. The rhinophores themselves technically not in focus, but what is in focus though is the eye, the face, so to speak. This way. We'll do it this way. We'll do it this way. See how can we do this. Definitely up there. So this one was taken with the 90mm Sony macro, as well as a +7 diopter macro lens. Same with this one to be exact. Didn't take it off. This was coral, or anemone. That was just trying to take a look. Now this one's a little bit more interesting. This is a tiny nudibranch that I spotted, and when I say tiny, I mean really, really small. And I was definitely taking this more for a ID purpose, because I don't think I've seen one of these before, or at least if I have, it could be a juvenile Armina. Oh, well, until I have a look at the ID book, I will not know for certain. and I say that mainly because of the way the rhinophores look, as well as the lines along the back. But yeah, am I gonna find a photo where the lost in focus or not? On this one. Definitely not this one. Nope. Oh. Okay. You know what? Let me see whether I can do something about the sharpening. Makes no difference. Makes no difference. Okay. Real shame because I don't know if you noticed, but it's like reaching out, trying to get to the other side. And this one is okay. So at this point, I'm inclined to say that it's either going to be this one or this one. Neither of which are particularly good, quite frankly. But it might end up being this one. Let's see what the sharpening will help. Nope. I mean, kind of does. You can see that the rhinophore gets just a smidge sharper. So this is definitely going to be one of those IDing photos, not necessarily something I'm going to put up on the interwebs, because really it's terrible. You can kind of see the chromatic aberration going on, and I think that's mostly because of my distance to the subject while I was still using the macro wet lens. Maybe if I had taken it off. I'll have to ID this later. Moving on. So this is, if I recall, this was a scorpion fish. Yeah, I believe it was scorpion fish. Unfortunately, I can barely get his face in frame because I'm using a macro lens. Unfortunate. So we got a tiny little critter down here. Let's see whether we can do something about. Oh my god. Going hard on the contrast is a bad idea. So we got ourselves a tiny little, if I'm correct, a tiny mantis shrimp, possibly. Let's see whether this one comes out looking any better. Not really. Might rotate this one, or I might rotate it the other way. definitely a mantis shrimp. Now the issue here with this is that the dude is freaking tiny. The dude is small as. It only covers this amount of the picture, so composition-wise, it does require a fair bit of cropping just to go and get down to a point where most of him is in frame. The issue here, though, is that I am getting a fair bit of blurriness, or is it? No, it's not blurriness. It's freaking contrast. Saturation is not gonna change it. Let's just lower the shadow, increase the exposure. But I don't know whether that's good. Well, I say I don't know. It's not gonna help. It's not helping at all. Let's see. Doesn't do anything. Why would I do that? Why would I do that? Okay. So what am I going to do about this? How am I going to solve this issue right here? Technically, it should be a matter of reducing the exposure, but in doing so, it just darkens the whole image as well. Which I think really just tells us that the problem is that this fellow is in dark a bit, in areas a bit too dark. All this work, and I can tell you that I'm not particularly happy with the photos anyway. So this is more just me trying to look at it and see is there anything that can be done to salvage it. And at this point in time, I'm gonna wait. Why didn't I? No, fuck no. I can't say that I'm particularly happy with the outcome, and I think that's mainly because the original image wasn't great to begin with. You know, it's not back to the drawing board. It's trash it goes. Okay, so we've got some coral crab here. Which one is the best one? Okay, definitely not this. Increasing the shadows, making it better. Sort of. Not really. This one. I think the first one is the best one we got, really. Eyes on in focus. No. Okay. honestly, this is probably a prime candidate for cropping. Let's just leave it. I'm actually quite happy with this one in terms of the amount of spot removal I need to do, which is practically zero. Just these 3 spots here that are most obvious. And got this cool little dude right here. Could probably do something about this. Spot removal to do. The reason why I'm leaving it like this is mainly because it's bright. It kind of has this. I don't know if you look at it and Japanese underwater photography on Instagram. Quite a few of them have this kind of editing style where it's light and bright. And this sort of reminds me of it. But you know, if I was to slap a photo on Instagram, it most likely wouldn't be this. It would more likely be this one. Likely to be this one and more likely to be this one, and that's mostly due to how I like my photos. I just happen to be taking both anyway because it's sort of clean. Eyes focus. I remember this lobster was a little bit trickier to do, mainly because he was in the crevice. Yeah, it was in a crevice that was in an awkward position for me to duck down and try and take a photo of. So I had to unclip the camera off me, put it closer towards it, and hope I could get it in frame, which is why I've got this bullshit right here. Whereas this one could have been better. Could have been better, but what to do? So, we've got 4 pictures of a cowrie. Let's go this one. Oh no. Brightening and you can see all the backscatter. Oh no. Cowries are interesting animals. The most famous one being the tiger cowrie. Given the shell has got the tiger stripes and all that. Whereas this one, I'm not immediately clear on the name of this one. Let me just see if I can quickly look it up. Interesting in that I don't think I have. Oh no, I do. It's just a common egg cowrie, right? Should have seen that coming. Common egg cowrie. Now, to do something about this. Quite frankly, this is already a bit too bright for my liking. Do I really want to do anything about this? There's not that much. There is some backscatter here that is a little bit more obvious than the rest, and most likely could go. But the main issue here is that I've got this shit in the back here that is more in focus than it has any right to be. Mostly due to the fact that this was taken slightly further away than I would like. So when that happens and you're at f20, everything is in focus. When really I would have liked a bit more background separation. So bit of a shame. But not altogether unexpected. As I said, this is what I'm running with at the moment. Would this one be any better? Slightly, but you don't get to see the blue bits over here. But yeah, the other thing that I'm not happy about with this image is the fact that we can see these bits right here where the water is clearly green. It's not pleasing, it's not pleasant, it doesn't look nice. What we got here, this is Christmas tree worm. It's mostly covering most of the frame, which is nice. Just got a little bit of cleanup to do here, 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 here. Are actually kind of in focus. Now the question here is, do I keep it as is, or do I play with it a bit more? I'm leaning towards keeping it as is, because I actually like what it looks like at the moment, where we've got subject over here and the rest of it is kind of out of focus. We've got the nice green fluorescence going on. Is it fluorescence? Not really fluorescence, or maybe it is. But yeah, you've got this little dude just like chilling. Nice, very nice. We got these philidids. Don't really care for them. They're all over the place, everywhere. When I first started diving, it was interesting to see. Nice to take photos of. Now, I kind of when I see them, I sleep. But nonetheless, keeping these around for ID purposes anyway. Now, this one, we've got ourselves a Blenny. The question here is, which photo is it? No, it's gotta be this one. Okay, so we don't have to increase the contrast too much. We do need to clean up the background just a bit, because you don't really want white specks to detract. Don't want it to detract at all, actually. No, part of the problem here is that dude is technically well camouflaged. It's only when you like pay close attention you notice the eyes there. Now, is there anything else that can be done about this? Can I technically lower the lowering the exposure is a bad idea. If anything, playing with the exposure is a bad idea. Shadows are okay. Keep it at that. So, part of the issue here between this and this is that this one, we are technically a little bit closer to the blending. This one, there's more of it to see. Oh, and they're both in focus. Okay, let's just contrast a little bit. This is the other reason why I feel like the other photo is likely the better option, because we don't have this bullshit to contend with over here. We just have the subject taking up most of the frame. But one can argue as well that having a bit of an open ocean in the back is also good to have. One can argue for it, but I'm not necessarily going to agree with it at this point. It's don't know whether it's helping. I don't necessarily think that it's helping the photo composition at all, actually. I do love texture on this. They both come. I'm gonna say that this one has more merit over this one over here. Oh, that's a shame. So we got a tiny clownfish. But he's not looking at the camera. He's not positioned in a way that looks nice. Unfortunate. So neither of these are coming along for the ride. Looks like at a glance you can see that it is a clownfish, but yeah, you don't really really see much of it because it's not side on. He's basically taking a photo of it from the top, and it's not that interesting. Okay. This was a chance photo. I don't think I need to touch it or anything like that. Lights could definitely work. Contrast. Alright. Beauty. That's all done. Now let's sort by rating. These are what we got. That's the other thing about all this. It's having the little watermark there as well. Do I want to have my watermark on it? You know what? I'm gonna say it. I don't know, and I don't really care at this point in time. It's unlikely to go on. Or I could just, process two batches, one with and one without. We'll see how it goes. In any case, this is me done.